Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. I'm Johnny TCG. I'm excited to see you here today. Today we're taking a look at the relatively new blue purple Luffy leader from OP11. This leader, people have been talking about him a ton. I'm a little late to cover him and I was debating even covering him, but because he won last week with a spicy deck list, I think now is the time for me to cover it. Now let me be clear, I am not the creator of this list. The creator of this list was Nick Mapes 8. He created this list and it was spicy and I had to give it a shot. I had to see if it was worth the hype. Obviously it's worth the hype if you just won a 1,000 person tournament with it, but I wanted to give it a shot myself, see how it does, talk to you all about it because I think it's just such a fun and interesting list, and go from there. Today we're going to be doing a deep deck profile. We're going to take this deck to the sim, and I forgot to mention we do have a giveaway for you for a custom Don card. Stay around, you're going to want to check that out. That's going to happen before the gameplay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the deck list. For those that don't know, Blue Purple Luffy is a 6,000 power, 3 life leader. He's got a crazy ability, folks. Some may even say it's broken. He's got the ability of you may activate this at the start of your turn when you have 8 Don. This happens before you draw. You are going to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. For a Straw Hat Crew type card, you're going to add it to your hand. Then with the remaining 4 cards, you can either put them at the top or bottom of your deck. The fact that you can choose to put them at the top is pretty crazy, and I think that's where it really gets broken. You can set up the 9-cost Sanji absolutely perfectly with this. Not only are you searching the 9-cost Sanji at the beginning of your turn, you're also stacking the deck, all for no cost basically. I guess it costs you a couple life cards, but folks, this is just so strong. Now you might have seen a standard deck list of this before. I'll throw it up on screen just for context, but this is spicy. This really takes advantage of the Don Quixote Pirates archetype. It uses a lot of cards from OP10, and for that reason I thought it was so interesting. Now I was made aware this is something people actually tried out in the beginning of OP11 in Japan, so this isn't a completely brand new idea, but this player brought it back from the dead, tried it in the West, and obviously had great results with it, so I had to give it a try. Starting out with the list, we've got a 5-cost 6,000 power Nami blocker from OP11, 1,000 counter, which is nice. She's got the ability of on play, if your leader is multicolored, draw 3 cards and then put 2 of them back either at the top or bottom of your deck. Another great way to get card advantage, another great way to stack your deck prepping for a 9-cost Sanji. Not a lot to say about this card, it's just really good, folks. Next up, we've got 9-cost Sanji, 9,000 power with the on play of flip the top card of your deck face up. Then if that is a cost 9 or less character that isn't Sanji, you may play it to the field. That is insane. Basically, there are so many decks that have tried to take advantage of this ability, but this is undoubtedly the deck that does it the best. Our options are usually this 9-cost Limlin or this Ace-cost Doflamingo, but of course, in a pinch, you can also go with 5-cost Nami, 5-cost Rosinante, Bon Clay if you're really down bad, you know? There's a lot of different options. There's not a lot to say about this card. It's just so good, so broken in this deck. Next up is where the Don Quixote Pirates package begins. We've got 3 of the Sugar Searchers from OP10. She's a searcher where you play her out, rest the Don, rest her, and then you do a search looking for a Don Quixote Pirates type card. Not a lot to say here, folks. You're looking for your 8-cost Doflamingo, you're looking for your 5-cost Rosinante. You also have Godthread, which you can search up, which if you need this in a pinch, which you'll see in the games where I don't want to spoil anything, but I hit it on curve on a card that's so important to remove Ace out, it can really just set the game up for you really nicely. You're going to want to find this card in certain situations, and Sugar is a great way to do that, especially early in the game. Next up, we've got Gyola, which is a very interesting card, a 2-cost 2,000 power character, which is unimpressive, but a 2k counter at the least. She also has the ability of when your opponent attacks once per turn, you may rest 2 of your Don, and then you get to rest one of your opponent's cost 4 or less characters. This is really, interesting, you know? It's not the best ability. I don't find myself playing her out super often, but I have a couple of times and was really impressed with just the strength of her, you know? I definitely think it's an interesting addition to this deck, and it can be a searchable 2k with Sugar too. How can you hate that? Next up, we've got Zoro from OP05. 4 of them, 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k of counter. Everybody knows this card right now. This is played in most blue purple Luffy decks. You're going to be able to ramp it down as active when you attack with this card. Nothing too crazy about it. If your opponent can remove it before you can attack with it, that's a bummer. But for the most part, he's a great consistent way to ramp if you see him early. Next up, we have 4 of the starter deck 18 Usohachis, 3 cost, 3,000 power, 2k counter. Of course, that on-play effect, if you have 8 or more down on the field, rest one of your opponent's cost 5 or less characters. This is a great way to go for game. People have talked about this card so much. I've talked about this card so much. It's in almost every single purple deck just because it's that strong. Let's get right into Bond Clay because we don't need to talk about how strong this card is again. Bond Clay, another purple staple that you see in a lot of purple decks regardless of the archetype. 4 cost, 1000 power, 1k counter. You're ramping a Don as active on the turn you play it, which is great, and then you also get to copy the power of one of your opponent's characters when you attack with it. Easily removed on the clapback, but sometimes, and you'll see in the game against purple Katakuri, this guy can get up to like 8000 power under the right circumstances. If your opponent can't remove it, you're going to be able to get some value from it. This card is so good, you're probably going to run it regardless of what other cards you're playing in this deck. It's just a great turn 2 ramp card. Next up, we've got Onami, a 4 cost 2000 power blocker with 1k of counter. She has the ability of, if you have 8 or more Don, you trash 1 card from your hand, draw 2. This isn't a crazy card. They're only running this card at 2, and I think that's completely valid. She's nice late game, but early game, you're not really going to play her out much. Now we're getting into the real spice. 5 cost 6000 power Don Quixote Rocinante, 1k of counter, which is very nice. This is from OP10. He's got the ability of on play, you may trash an event card from your hand and then draw 2 cards. I don't take advantage of this every time I play it because if like Gum Gum Giant's the only event card in my hand, I don't necessarily want to trash it, but it does come up in certain situations. Then at the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more Don on the field, you may then set 2 of your Don that are rested as active. This is a great way to set up some of your event cards like Gum Gum Giant, Gear 2, and then also Noro Noro Beam Sword, which we'll talk about in a bit. Overall, you're going to want to combo Rocinante for the most part with this 8 cost Don Quixote do Flamingo. This is a great card to cheat out with the 9 cost Sanji. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, folks? 9 cost Sanji into 8 cost do Flamingo into 5 cost Rocinante. The 8 cost do Flamingo from OP10 has the ability of on play Don -1. You play up to 1 5 cost or less Don Quixote do Flamingo Pirates characters from your hand to the field. Then during your opponent's turn, once per turn, you may rest one of your active Don and then restand a Don as active from your Don deck, ramping a Don back, which is great. Flooding your board with this deck is so strong. Now, I don't necessarily know if this is better than the OG build, but there's certainly merit to it, especially in different matchups, being able to go wide instead of just maybe 2 big bodies on turn, or even on your 8 Don turn, establishing this 8 cost 9000 power Dofi and Rocinante 5/6 body is pretty strong, as opposed to maybe an 8 drop Katakuri only during that turn. Next up, we've got basically another staple in this deck list, and that is the 9 cost 9000 power Charlotte Linlin from OP08. Don -1 on play, you're going to trash a card from your hand, add the top card of your deck to your life, then you get to put one of your opponent's cost 6 or less characters at the bottom or top of their life face up. There's a lot to love about this card. There's a lot to hate about this card if you're playing against it. You're ramping to this card. Ideally, you're playing it off Sanji. Not a lot to say here, folks. Just a beast of a card. 1 Gum Gum Red Rock. I wouldn't hate if there were 2 in this deck, but this deck list is only running 1. Gum Gum Red Rock is a classic card at this point. OP04, 6 cost, put one of your opponent's characters at the bottom of their deck. This is a great way to get rid of a big 10 cost Teach, another 9 cost Sanji or 8 cost Katakuri if you're in the mirror match. It also has the trigger of place up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. How can you hate that, folks? You could even set this up with your 9 cost Sanji and 9 cost Linlin if you really wanted to. 4 Gum Gum Giants, folks. What do you want me to say about this card? Absolutely broken. Some people want it banned. I won't comment on that. It's just a great card to play, especially in this deck. Gear 2 is a new event from OP11. 1 cost, you can use it as a counter card and your leader gets plus 3000 power, or you can use it during your turn, rest 2 Don as well, and then ramp a Don as rested from your deck. This is usually your best case scenario on turn 2 if you're on the odd curve, if you don't have that Zoro Joro. If you don't have that Zoro Joro and you have this card, it's absolutely no problem. If you don't have either of those though, you're going to be in for a rough beginning of the game at least. Next up, we have Noro Noro Beam Sword, a 2 cost event from OP07. This is definitely some of the spiciest tech in this deck. This is a counter Don -1, give up to one of your characters or leaders plus 2000 power, then you rest one of your opponent's characters. This catches people so off guard. It's especially nice if you have a Rocinante on the board, which is going to set up 2 Don for you and not having to leave that 2 Don up manually, basically. If you automatically set 2 Don up with that ability, it feels perfectly good playing out this card. Honestly, there's some times where I wish there was 2 in this deck, but I get why there's only 1. The last card I'm going to talk about is God Thread, a 5 cost event from OP10, which allows you to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then you ramp a card as active. Not a lot to say about this, just an amazing card to play on your 3rd turn when you're at 5 or 6 Don. Absolutely love this card, especially when you're able to take out in a body of your opponent. That is going to be a real pain. Looking at you 4 cost Kuzan, I'm looking at you 4 cost Laboon. Get those cards out of my face, you know? You use this card, you're going to have a great time, folks. Regardless of the archetype you're playing, this is another card that works very well in this deck. That's the deck list for you, folks. I want to mention again, I did not create this deck list. I don't want to take credit for it. If you've watched this video so far, I probably made it loud and clear. I am not the creator of this deck list. I just got to remind you again because I don't want to get accused of taking credit. Now, my final verdict is that I don't know if I love this better than the OG build, but it is strong nonetheless. I mean, with this leader is just inherently strong, and there's a lot of pros to being able to play this 8 cost into 5 cost off a 9 cost Sanji. Just going so wide, when you're able to see everything you need, get that perfect curve where you're ramping to the 9 cost Sanji, you are going to have a great time. You'll see in some of the games I hit that perfect curve, especially that first one. Stick around for that. I was surprised I won that matchup. Before we get into the games, of course I have a giveaway for you today. Unfortunately, I don't have a custom leader to give away, but we do have a custom Don card. I'm actually going to give away a custom Sanrio Don card today. Do we have any Hangyodon fans in the chat? I might be the only one who likes this Don card, but maybe there's others that want to win it too. To enter to win this Don card, all you have to do is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. It's as simple as that. If this video gets 20 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll randomly choose a US based commenter and send it to you completely free. Just to be clear, I'm not the artist of this card. This is using official Sanrio artwork. I am not claiming to be the artist. I am not selling this. This is just a fun personal fan project of mine. If you want to enter to win it, 1, hit the like button, 2, hit the comment button. It's as simple as that. If you want to support the channel, if you want to make my day, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. I've got plenty of more content coming for you. If you like deck lists, if you want deck breakdowns, if you want fun gameplay on the sim, consider checking it out. There's even some cringe jokes thrown in time to time, so you're gonna want to see those, and you can make fun of me in the comments down below if it's too cringe. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Thank you for all who hit the subscribe button. Let's get into the gameplay. Our first matchup of the day is going to be against a Rob Lucci. I've got to admit, this is one of the toughest matchups for me, and I don't think that is unusual. Rob Lucci, if they're able to stabilize, is just such a strong leader. The fact that they are now playing the 10-drop Kuzan in a lot of builds means that late in the game, they're going to have an easy way to remove a lot of your bodies. We are on the odd curve, which I think is fine for us. They're going to counter out of that first swing, and then we're going to use the OP11 event to ramp it down as rested. They'll swing 5,000 at us first just to set their trash up a little bit. They'll play down the 4-cost Kuzan. We have the God Thread. Perfect timing to get rid of that. If that Kuzan sticks on the board, it's going to be a long game for you. Now we get to swing 8,000 with our leader. I imagine they'll take this and won't counter out with 2 2Ks, and then we'll pass it back to them. So far, so good, ladies and gentlemen. They're at 6 Don. They'll give 2 Don to their leader, swing 7,000 at us, and we will take this. We don't have any 2Ks, and I don't want to give them both of my 1Ks. They'll play another Kuzan, and now they'll pass it back to us. 9 Don for us to work with. We do have that 9-cost Linlin, which I think is going to be the move here. We'll be able to remove their Kuzan, which is really strong. We'll get to heal a life as well. I'm thinking maybe we trash a Don Quixote do Flamingo, just because he doesn't have any counter. We already have one, and going into our next turn, we're going to be able to search for our 9-cost Sanjis. They're going to swing 6,000 at us with their leader. I'll give a Bond Clay to counter, then they'll play down the Jack. We can start using leader ability here, which is absolutely huge. We'll take the 9-cost Sanji. Off the 9-cost Sanji, I think it makes sense to play the Nami 5-cost, not a 5-cost Don Quixote Rosinante. I think that might be a little bit unideal, so that's why I'm kind of hesitating. We'll draw into the 2K counter Usohachi. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, Nami is not the perfect choice, but it is definitely a solid choice. We're going to be able to draw 3 and then put 2 cards back to our deck. We're going to start out with a 7,000 power swing from our leader, 7,000 into life. We'll see what they do here. They'll take that. Then we're going to swing 9,000 with our Charlotte Linlin. 9,000. No way they counter out of this, right, folks? Right? I don't know. They take their time. They will take that. Now we'll play down the 9-cost Sanji, play down the 5-cost Nami. Off the Nami, we get 2 Rosinantes and the 1-cost event. I'm thinking we put a Bond Clay and a Rosinante at the bottom of our deck. Keep 1 Rosinante in our hand. Maybe we play that off a Doflamingo 8-cost off of a Sanji later on. Maybe we do that next turn if we can't find another 9-cost Sanji. For 4 Don, they will have the Shirahoshi blocker. That does give -4 cost to our Sanji. They're also going to play down the Rebecca blocker. They're going to be able to take something back from their trash. They'll be able to remove the Sanji most likely. They will take the starter deck 6 to Shigi from their trash and add it to their hand. That'll probably just be used as a 2K. Then they've got the Hina to play off the Rebecca. Oh, that's perfect, folks. They'll be able to rest their Jack to pop our Sanji. A little bit of a bummer, but this is why going wide is important. Because we went wide, we at least got to keep our 5-cost Nami on the board as well. So not ideal, but again, it is what it is. Rob Lucci, once they establish their bodies, once they find their rhythm, it can be really tough to deal with. They're going to have a Manchury as well. If they use a Manchury this turn, instead of swinging 6,000 with their leader, they're going to be able to draw a card from their trash. They'll put a couple cards at the bottom of their deck, and then they're going to draw another 2K counter. We're going to use leader ability here. We do find a 9-cost Sanji, which is perfect. I'm thinking here we go 9-cost Sanji into Doflamingo. Off the Doflamingo, we'll be able to play down the Rosinante. Establishing a 9, an 8, and a 5-cost body is going to be absolutely epic for us. I'm debating on whether or not to give it down to my leader. I decided to swing 6,000 with our Nami blocker first into the Manchuri. You definitely want to clear that Manchuri, and I'm okay with swinging the Nami blocker just because they're probably going to be able to remove it anyway, so I don't think it's worth keeping it standing. They'll block with the Rebecca to keep the Manchuri on board. We'll swing 6,000 with our leader. They'll let it go now. Now 9,000 into Hina, I guess, with our Charlotte Linlin. I wouldn't be surprised if they block this though, and they will block with Shirahoshi. Now for 9 down, I'll play down the Sanji. I'll be able to play out the Doflamingo off the Sanji. Off the Doflamingo, I'm able to play out the Rosinante. I'm not going to use his ability to trash an event card and draw 2 cards. I want to keep the event cards I have in my hand. Then we're going to be able to restand 2 Donnas active because of Rosinante's ability. They're going to start off with the 5,000 power leader swing, and this is a mistake, folks. They're doing this so they can get the -1 cost with leader ability, but they don't realize I have the Noronoro beam sword, which I can use to rest their Jack. This is absolutely huge, folks. We're going to be able to rest their Jack, which is going to severely impact just how many bodies they're able to remove. Once I do that, they concede instantly. They know that this game is probably out of reach after that. I wish they didn't concede, and I don't like including games that don't get finished where they rage quit, but I just wanted to show off how quickly this deck can get out of hand. Even if they drop the 10-cost Kuzan this turn, they're only able to remove a 5-cost body like our Rosinante or our Nami. Look at the rest of the bodies we have on board. We were going to be able to go into leader ability, draw another card. We've got that 8-cost Dofi in our hand. We're going to have a bunch of big swings between our 9 Linlin, our 8 Dofi, our 9 Sanji. Yeah, we were just in a great spot. They had a lot of 2K counters in their hand. They did have some options like a Laboon and a Rob Lucci, but yeah, they just rage quitted when I rested that Jack. You know, they didn't see the Noronoro Beam Sword coming. GG's, I'm not usually great against Rob Lucci's, and I know they quit early, but I think we were set up perfectly there. We saw the God curve between the event on turn 2, between the God thread on turn 3 to remove the Kuzan, and then going into the Linlin. Now we're playing against Purple Katakuri, a new leader from OP11. We are going to be on the even curve this time. They see the Charlotte Pudding on turn 2, which means they're going to be able to use their leader ability for free. They're going to swing 6,000 at us. We are going to give them the 1K Nami. I want to keep my life a little bit healthy here. 4 down for us to work with. All we have to really play is the 3-cost Zoro, which does feel a little bit sketchy because that can be easily removed with some of the cards in Purple Katakuri. We're going to swing 7,000. They'll take that and they get the event trigger. They find a 10-cost Linlin. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. Then I'll play out this 3-cost Zoro and pass, hoping it stays alive so that we can ramp with it next turn. We'll see though. 4 down or 5 down for them to work with. They will have the Charlotte Oven that will be able to kill our Zoro. That feels really bad. 5,000 with their leader. Using leader ability, it's actually 6,000. We get the 1-cost event, which we can use to ramp next turn perhaps. They'll rest their Charlotte Oven to pop our Zoro. That's definitely a bummer, and they'll pass it back to us with 1 down standing. We do draw the Bond Clay. We could double ramp here actually. 4 down for Bond Clay, ramping a Don as active, then using the Gear 2 event to ramp another one. Then that sets up very nicely for us to be at 10 Don next turn. More importantly, we'll be at 8 Don at the end of this turn, which means we'll be able to start using our leader ability next turn, which is huge. 6,000 into their Charlotte Oven. I'm surprised they let that go. Then we're going to play down the event, ramp another Don. We're at 8 Don now. We are going to be able to do some spicy combos coming up. So getting that leader ability active ASAP is always one of the biggest priorities for our deck, and we were able to do that greatly this turn. 5,000 or 6,000 into our life with their leader using leader ability. They did establish that 8-cost Katakuri, which is going to be very annoying to deal with. We do have a Gum Red Rock we can use on it, but we'll see. We also want to establish some big bodies here. Off of our leader ability, we do find the 9-cost Sanji. I'm thinking here we can establish the 9-cost Sanji into the 8-cost Doflamingo, into the 5-cost Rosinante. A little bit of a mouthful there, but I think that's the move. We're just going to be able to overwhelm them with board presence. I really like the fact that we're able to pull this combo off. We can swing 8,000 with our Mr. 2 Bond Clay too, which is really cool. We're going to be able to copy the power of that Katakuri. I'm going to start out by giving my leader 1 Don, swing 7,000 at them. I'm kind of surprised that they don't free block with the Katakuri here. They are instead going to take that hit. Now I'm going to swing 8,000 with our Mr. Two Clay. Maybe the blocking counter out of this. They will just go ahead and block with the Charlotte Anana instead. Makes sense to me. Now for 9 down, we're going to play out Doflamingo. We're going to play out the Resonante off Doflamingo. I'm debating on whether or not it makes sense to trash an event card from my hand. Gum Gum Giant or Gum Gum Red Rock. Both of those are great cards, but then we also get to draw 2 cards off the Resonante ability. We're going to trash the Red Rock. I just don't know how necessary it's going to be, and we will pass it back to them. That might be a little bit questionable, folks, but now we've got the Noronoro Beam Sword, which depending on how they order their swings, we might be able to rest their Charlotte Katakuri 8 cost before they actually swing with it, which would be amazing value. And they fall right into my trap. We are going to be able to use the Noronoro Beam Sword here. They swing 4,000 with putting into our Bon Clay. We are going to be able to rest their 8 cost Katakuri now, which is huge. We give 2,000 to our Bon Clay. Unfortunately, we can't save the Bon Clay. That would have been crazy if we were able to save the Bon Clay too. With 10 down for them to work with, I was expecting them to play down the 10 cost Charlotte Lilin with Rush. That would have applied a lot of pressure on me. I'm surprised that's not what they're going to do. They're going to play down the 1 cost Pudding instead. Going to be able to do a search looking for another Big Mom Pirates type character. They might have another 8 cost Katakuri, which will be a strong blocker, but I definitely think getting out that 10 cost Lilin would have been the move here. They will find the OP11 Charlotte Parasparrow. I don't think this is too threatening to me. It is a 5/7 body, which of course can attack into us, but I'm not really too scared of it. I definitely think that Charlotte Lilin would have been scarier. 7,000 now or 8,000 now with their leader. Using leader ability, we are going to have to take this going down to 1 life. Next turn, we'll probably play down the 9 cost Lilin to heal a life. Put their Charlotte Parasparrow maybe at the bottom of their life. 2 down left for them to work with. Do they have a baby Charlotte Katakuri? That would be interesting. Using their leader ability, they're going to trash an 8 cost Katakuri, which surprised me from their hand. They probably have another one, or maybe they just have a lot of bricks and need to find some counter cards. They do reveal to us that the top card of our deck is a Charlotte Resonante. Then for 1 down, they'll play down the Charlotte Anana blocker. We're going to use our leader ability. We will find that 9 cost Sanji. You know we love to see it. This deck is just so strong, folks, especially into the late game. We're going to be able to cheat out a 9 cost Linlin and draw a counter card. Gum Gum Giant, Gear 2 event. Either way, we can't really go wrong. Now we're just going to put a lot of pressure on their life. I wouldn't mind if they block with their Charlotte Katakuri so that we could swing into it with some of our big bodies as well. Or maybe we just go straight to life with all the attacks and really put pressure on them. We're going to start out with the 6,000, which they will 2k counter out of with the Usohachi. Now we're going to swing 6,000 with our leader into their life. 2 down left up. I wonder if that's for an event or maybe... yeah, I wonder. They're going to take that 6,000 power swing. Now a 9,000 power swing going in with our 8 cost Doflamingo. They will block that with the Charlotte Anana. I'm going to give a Don to our Sanji, so if they want to block with their Katakuri, they're going to have to give us 2 cards from hand. They will just take that going down to 1 life. Now we're going to play down the 9 cost Sanji, cheating out the Charlotte Linlin, trashing, I guess, an 8 cost Doflamingo from our hand. It is a brick after all. And then we're going to put the Parasparrow at the bottom of their life. Now we're sitting pretty good, folks. We're going to be able to restand 2 Don because of our Rosinante. Now if I use the Gum Gum Giant this turn, I won't be able to use leader ability next turn, which is definitely something I need to consider. But I think they really need to start clearing my board. I don't think I need to be too worried about them going for lethal here. They're going to start out by playing a 2 cost Katakuri. They're probably going to be able to cheat out an 8 cost now. 6,000 into our leader. I think we should probably just 1k counter out of this with Bon Clay. And that's what I'll do. I'll keep our life a little bit healthy. They will, of course, have a big swing with that 8 cost Katakuri. They're going to use their 2 cost Katakuri ability, cheat out another 8 cost. Looking down the barrel of 2 8 cost Katakuris is a little bit scary, but we've got a lot of tax to deal with it. 8,000 into our 6,000 powered Don Quixote Rosinante. Do I Gum Gum Giant out of this, folks? I will, just to keep it alive. I want to keep the pressure up. I'm going to trash a Charlotte Linlin, draw 2 Rosinantes off the Gum Gum Giant, which isn't really amazing. Then they're going to play down another Rosinante. I mean, oh my god, another Katakuri, folks. 3 Katakuris on the board for them. This is going to be hard to break through their wall, but we do have a really strong board right now, so it's not like they're just going to be able to free block a lot of attacks. We are going to use leader ability to draw a Gum Gum Giant. I don't think taking Usohachi would have been a bad idea either. Maybe, if anything, it would have been a better idea just because that doesn't require any Don, but I mean, it's hard to turn down Gum Gum Giant, folks, you know. We are going to set these cards at the top just so we can draw another 2k, just so we know we have another Gum Gum Giant coming. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. We can draw a Gum Gum Giant off of another Gum Gum Giant, which is pretty cool. Now it's just time to swing really big. I don't even think I'm going to play out the 9-cost Linlin to heal here. I think I'll just start out swinging with our bodies, seeing how this goes. They are going to take the first 9,000 power swing. Now we're going to swing 9,000 with our Doflamingo, which they will block and counter to keep that Katakuri alive. I might just have game here, folks. It might just be a numbers game at this point. We do know that one of their cards in hand is a 10-cost Linlin, so that has no counter. Now we're going to swing 9,000 with our 9-cost Sanji. I'm definitely overthinking this turn, folks. I think it's just swing with all my characters for 9,000 and you'll probably be good. I'm gonna now do a 7,000 power Rosinante swing. This is probably unnecessary, incorrect. The reason I did this though is they're probably gonna have to block, and if they do block, we can just swing big into their life. We can just do 2 really big swings, one with our Charlotte Linlin and then one with our Luffy. I did consider playing down the 9-cost Linlin. They don't even want to wait for me to finish that turn because it is over. I definitely overcomplicated that a little bit at the end, but I don't know. I feel like that's a staple of a Johnny TCG video of me overcomplicating things at the end of the game and when I had it kind of in the bag. Now our next game is going to be against a Martial D Teach. We are going to be going second. I feel like this matchup is actually going to be pretty difficult for us. We don't run any of the characters, really many of the characters that are good without on-play effects. For example, the 8-cost Katakuri, you don't really need his on-play effect. We run our 9-cost Linlin, our 8-cost Dofi. These are cards that are really good because of the on-play effect, which they're going to be able to turn off. This might be a long one, folks, so strap in, buckle up, get ready. They're going to start out with the 6,000 power swing. We are going to counter with the Zorodoro. The reason I'm happy or fine to get rid of the Zorodoro is because I think it makes sense to use our Gear 2 event to ramp this next turn, not the Zorodoro. I can't trust that he's going to be able to survive a turn for us to get value out of him. Forward on for us to use, I'm thinking here we swing into the Lafitte, swing 6,000 to the Lafitte. No way they're going to counter out of this, and then we can use the Gear 2 to ramp a Don as rested. Next turn, we're going to be at 7 Don, which is pretty rad. They've got 5 to work with here, and they're going to play out that 5-cost Kuzan, trashing a card with Stage to do a cycle, drawing Black Hole, and then they can't swing into us. They will use Leader ability to prevent us from using on-play effects. Now, 7 Don to work with, literally no good options. I am thinking I use the Gear 2 event here just to get us to 8 Don, meaning that we can use Leader ability next turn. I could have Gum Gum Red Rocked the Kuzan, I guess, but that just feels bad. I will make a misplay here, forgetting that they turned off our on-play effects. I was going to play down the Usohachi to swing into the Kuzan. Of course, I forgot, though. Now we're going to swing 7,000 with our leader. Now we've got a wasted Kuzan on the board. I guess he could become a swing, potentially. I don't think they'll probably use resources to get rid of it. Maybe they will, but I'm not really too worried about that. It stinks to lose a 2K counter from our hand, but it's not the end of the world, folks. They're going to be at 7 Don now, 5 cards in hand. They do get that starter deck 27 Teach, which they can play that out and pop the Usohachi. Absolutely zero value gain from that, folks. What a bad play on my part. Gotta lock in, folks. Gotta stay focused. They aren't going to be able to swing at us. We are going to start off. We get to do leader ability. Debating here whether or not to take Gum Gum Giant or the Nami. They did use their leader ability, so whatever I play, I won't be able to use leader ability for. We take the Gum Gum Giant. I think that we're going to put the rest of the cards at the top and draw into another Gum Gum Giant, perhaps. The Nami's not the worst idea ever. That 5-cost Rosinante would be great to go with the Doflamingo, but unfortunately they did turn off our on-play effects. I'm thinking here we just try to remove this 7-cost Teach and then maybe play down the 5-cost Nami with it as well, even though we don't get Nami's draw effect. It's still better than nothing, I guess. 10,000 and 8,000. If they want to counter out of that, fine. That's just cards out of their hand. They will draw the 10-cost Teach from their graveyard, which is not ideal. Then we'll play down the 5-cost Nami blocker. We'll see if they remove it before we get any value from it. They're at 9 down, so they can't play down that 10-cost Teach just yet. We'll see what they can do here. They're going to swing big with their 5-cost Kuzan, 8,000 into 6,000. I think it makes sense for us to take this, or should we even block? Folks, at this point, I'm not too familiar with this matchup. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm thinking here we just take this. They're not going to probably swing big with their leader too. We take that. We get the 4-cost Nami, which isn't going to be anything special. At least it has some counter. They will have that 5-cost Van Augur. I am wishing now that I blocked with the Nami because it seems like they're probably going to be able to remove this Nami. They're going to rest the Van Augur to give our Nami -3 cost, bringing her down to a 2 cost. They will have the Stronger as well. This lets them do a card cycle and give -2 to our Nami. Then after the Stronger, they'll have the Dock Q to pop the Nami. Not too mad about that turn. I mean, it took up a lot of energy for them to do all that, so I'm not really too bummed that we lost the Nami there. 8,000 now with their leader. We're going to do a Gum Gum Giant, not only to keep us a little bit healthy, but also just to do a little bit of a card cycle, get deeper into our deck, looking for answers of some kind. 8,000 into us, we do counter out of that. Passing it back to us, we are going to be at 8 Don, so we will be able to use leader ability, which is great. Off of our leader ability, we will find that 9-cost Sanji. They turned off our own plays, though, and so we're not going to be able to get a lot of value out of it. I guess we should still take it, though. We can draw into the Gum Gum Giant, which is intriguing. We could also draw into a 1k counter Mr. Tubon Clay. I don't hate that idea at all, but I'm actually going to put all the cards at the bottom of the deck just because I want to find something else to play out. 10 Don for us to work with here. Decisions. Maybe I just established the 9-cost Sanji without using his on-play effect. We've got no choice, you know. I guess just establishing a big body is what we're going to need. Also in 7,000 into the Van Augur here. They're still at 4 life, which is pretty crazy. Let me know how you think I'm doing in this matchup down below. We're actually going to go wide. We're going to establish the Rosinante. Then we're also going to establish the Nami blocker. Both of those are easily removed, but I imagine they're going to want to play down the 10-cost Teach here, and that can only interact with one of our characters. They're going to prevent the Rosinante from attacking and using his ability, but that's not the biggest deal to me. They can't swing into us this turn, which is good news. I think that turn was decent for us. I think it was worth it. This upcoming turn, we can red rock the 10-cost Teach if we so choose to. They probably have another, and of course with that stage they're able to find and dig deep into their deck, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have another one in their hand or get another one pretty easily, but of course getting rid of one's never a bad idea. We're going to use our leader ability here. Not amazing options. I guess we take a 5-cost Nami. She's basically just going to be a blocker into 1k. I don't think we need another Sanji because we're not going to be able to use his ability. We're going to start off right away by using the Gum Gum Red Rock, getting rid of that 10-cost Teach. Maybe I should have took the Zoro Joro and just established that on the board. That's an interesting idea. Maybe I should have done that. I could have thrown him down and they would have had to deal with him one way or another. He's just a small swing, but a swing nonetheless. Now we'll swing 8,000 into their life, leave 2 Don up. You never know when you're going to find an Oro Beam Sword. That could definitely come in handy. 10 Don for them to work with. Do they have another 10-cost Teach? This is awkward, folks. I don't know. This is such a weird game. We're going deep into both of our decks, really. They've been turning off our effects non-stop since 7 Don. I gotta get some big bodies on the board, but without them getting their effects off, it does feel kind of bad. No 10-cost Teach this turn. They're going to play down the Van Augur for 5 Don, rest it. They're going to pop our Onami blocker. That's not really the biggest deal ever. Now they're going to swing 6,000 with their leader. I'm going to 1k counter out of this, protect our life a little bit. 4 Don left up for them. Maybe a Jesus Burgess. No, they go with the Black Hole. Pop our Rosinante. Not the worst turn for us, for them. They established a Van Augur, but didn't establish a 10-cost Teach or anything. We're going to use leader ability here, deciding between a Gum Gum Giant, a Zoro Joro, and a Nami blocker again. They turned off on plays. I'm thinking here is when we start to establish some bigger bodies, whether it be the 9-cost Zoro or the 9-cost Linlin. Can't use their on play effects, of course, but we'll see. I'm thinking here we swing 7,000 into the Van Augur and then establish a big body, probably the Sanji or maybe a Linlin. I guess maybe Linlin makes more sense. I'm not sure if we're ever going to be able to get value from her effect. We're going to swing 7,000 now into their leader instead. I'm not really too worried about the Van Augur. If they want to use the Van Augur to lower the cost of maybe one of my big bodies, that's fine, because that means they're not going to play a 10-cost Teach that turn, and for that reason I'm not really too worried about it. 7,000 into their leader. They can't get out of this unless they want to give us both cards from their hand, which if they want to give us both cards from their hand, that would be amazing for us. Now it's time for a 9-cost Lin or a 9-cost Sanji. I could also God Thread, I guess, the Van Augur, but that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I even go with the 8-cost Dofi. My logic here is just to keep a Don up for Gum Gum Giant. I don't really think it makes too much of a difference in 8-cost versus a 9-cost. They are going to play down the 10-cost Teach this turn. Gonna prevent my Dofi from attacking this next turn, which is a bummer. They'll be able to swing into me with Van Augur if they so choose. I don't know if I'll counter out of that. I think I'll use Gum Gum Giant, maybe, just to do a card cycle. I could also trash a 2k, but I think using Gum Gum Giant is the move here. We can trash a Linlin. I think that is the move. Again, we're probably not going to be able to get value off of Linlin, which is a bummer. Are they going to use their leader ability to prevent us from using on-play effects? They will. That's a bummer. At least they trashed a card from hand. They're down to 1 card in hand, and that's kind of the key. When Blackbeard starts getting down to like 1 or 2 cards in hand, it is rough. We are going to use leader ability. They are going to draw Liberation off that stage. Now, we could go Sanji. We could go the 1-cost event. We're going to go with the 1-cost event. Of course, we want to keep a little bit of health going into the next turn or so. The question is, do I put these cards at the top or bottom? In this matchup, folks, it really is unclear for me. The fact that we don't have any on plays, it's like, what am I even looking for in this exact moment? Maybe taking a Bon Clay would be good. Establishing that on the board, if they can't pop it, would be nice. It would be able to copy the Teach. They'd have to use their Van Augur and their Stronger to get rid of it, and then that Van Augur is therefore not going to swing into us. For that reason, I do kind of like that idea. We could also establish another 8-cost Doflamingo. We're going to start by swinging 6,000 into the Van Augur. Maybe this is unnecessary. It's probably unnecessary. If they take this hit, they're going to be able to draw a card, which they are probably even okay with. So in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but they could have also free blocked as well. If we swung into their life, I imagine they would have free blocked. So I don't know how much of a difference it makes. Now I'm going to play out another 8-cost Dofi. Hopefully they can't deal with both of those. They will have another 10-cost Teach. Are they going to swing in with their other 10-cost Teach this turn? That will certainly be the question. We have a bunch of counter events in our hand, so I'm not really too worried. They are going to swing 12,000. I think we're all right to take this. I don't think we need to use Gum Gum Giant here, but we will, just to keep our life a little bit healthy. They can't swing again this turn, so that's why I'm willing to. We're going to use one Gum Gum Giant, then we are going to use the Gear 2. That was a little bit rough having to use both of those events. We didn't really draw much off of the Gum Gum Giant. They will use leader ability again. Man, oh my god, I hate playing against Teach right now. We do find the Usohachi 2K, which is interesting. We also could take the Onami blocker. I lean towards taking the Usohachi just because it's a 2K, and who doesn't like a 2K, folks? I could also develop an Onami on the board, going along with the Mr. 2 Bon Clay. That is pretty interesting as well. We're going to slowly establish a little bit of a wide board. That will hopefully keep us alive and allow us to apply pressure. Only 2 cards in hand for them is not a lot. Now I'm kind of debating on what exactly I want to do here. I can swing big with my Luffy. I can swing small with my Luffy. If they want to block that, they can go ahead and do that. 6,000 now with my Luffy. I wouldn't be surprised if they counter out of this. They might block it, but if they do that, I'll swing really big into their arrested Teach. So I assume they're not going to free block this. I imagine they're either going to counter out or even take this. Taking it seems a little bit bold, but if they don't have the choice, they don't have the choice. I assume they don't want to free block and therefore have to deal with a big swing into their Teach. 6,000 and 5,000, they will take that. I don't even know if I'm going to swing with my ready to swing Doflamingo, the non-turned off Doflamingo. I guess I can maybe swing big with that and then play down the Bon Clay or the Onami. I don't think I can go wrong either way with those. Bon Clay, of course, will allow me to use the Teach's power next turn, which is good, but Onami is also a blocker that they'd have to deal with. Now 14,000 with our Dofi into their Teach. They're going to counter with 2 cards from hand. Maybe I should have just went into life, but I don't think it's that big of a deal at this point. I really like where we're at right now. Hypothetically, there are some ways where they could really pressure us this turn, make us a little bit nervous. They'll have a Van Augur and a Jesus Burgess, though, and I think we're going to be all right. They could swing with their leader and their 2 Teaches. If they do that, that does make them vulnerable to lose next turn. They'll pop the Onami blocker. They might swing with one of their Teaches. They're going to swing 6,000 with their leader first, and this is definitely going to be a 1K counter, probably with the Rosinante. I think that's the call here. 7,000 to get out of a 6,000. They won't swing with either of their Teaches. Man, I wish I had another Red Rock. We are going to take the Usohachi off of leader ability, and I think this is just game, folks. We can swing 3 times. They do have 2 blockers. We can establish, I guess, a Bon Clay. Or maybe we establish the 9-cost Sanji, just because that'll be hard for them to remove. Removing the Bon Clay would be easy for them this next turn. I don't think it matters too much about if we put these cards at the top or bottom. I think we probably have this game in the bag, but you never know. There could be triggers, there could be shenanigans. It is Teach after all. If you watch the anime or read the manga, you know he always tends to find a way to win, especially off screen. We're going to start out with a 6,000 power swing into their leader. They've got a block. They can't counter, so they might take this, and then we can just swing twice with our Dofis, which they can counter out of both. Maybe I swing really big with the Dofi and not swing with the other one, and then maybe establish another character. They did also not use leader ability here, so maybe I play down the 9-cost Linlin. I didn't realize that. I think when I was doing my leader ability that they did not use their leader ability. That might be a little bit of a misplay on my part, because I could have done like 9-cost Sanji into Bon Clay. yeah, not a terrible idea on my part. I've certainly had worse ideas. They are going to free block with that. Now I'm thinking we can just swing 9,000 with one of our Dofis. If they want to block this, we get a 9,000 into their life. A rusher would not be a bad thing right now. I do wish this deck played more rushers. I don't think we really play any, which is a little bit of a bummer. But hey, this is not my list. I didn't make it. And that's not me talking crap on the list, because it's certainly a great list that did win a regional after all. Now we're going to swing 9,000 with our 8 cost Dofi into their life. I'm overthinking this so much, folks. I'm sorry. You can roast me in the comments below saying, Johnny, you always overthink these things, and I don't mean to, folks. Sometimes I'm just in my head. 9,000 into their life. If they do take this, I don't know if I'll swing with my other 9,000 Doflamingo. They will take that. Should I put a bunch of down on my Doflamingo? My other Doflamingo? Decisions. Folks, I don't know. I'm going to maybe swing another Van Augur just to clear it. They don't know that I don't run any rushers, so that is one thing I do have to my benefit. I am going to go with the 9 cost Sanji. I forgot that I put a 9 cost Linlin at the top. Or was that blind, folks? I think that might have been blind. I don't even remember. It's been a long game. We'll play the 9 cost Linlin, put the Jesus Burgess at the top of their life. I don't even know if I really needed to do that, but I did do it. We've got a couple of 2Ks in our hand, which is good. We've got a couple of 1Ks. We've got a 1 cost counter event and then 3 life cards. So I think we're pretty good here. We should win next turn. They're going to play down a Jesus Burgess. Even if they turn off our own play effects, I don't think there's any way for them to get across the finish line in order to beat us. I think I'm going to speed the rest of this game up, folks, because I think we're almost done. They're going to give 3 down to their leader, swing 8,000 into us. I accidentally make a mistake and use both of my Dofi's abilities, which rests all of my Don. Now I can't use that 1 cost event. I'm not really too worried about it, though. I should have just countered out of that attack. I'm cooked, folks. I need to go to bed. It's too late right now. We've got a ton of counter in hand, so I don't think we can lose anyway, regardless of how they divvy their Don. 9,000 at us with Van Augur. I think they just have to go for game here. I don't think there's any way they leave the Teachers standing. We'll counter out of that. They might just concede, or they'll swing with their Teachers, or maybe they won't. Yeah, I think we just got this one in the bag, folks. Now we can use leader ability. They concede. GG. That was a grind, an absolute grind. GG. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the deck list I got for you today. That's the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? That Rob Lucci matchup, wow, that went really well. We hit the perfect curve. Of course, they rage quitted and we couldn't finish the game, but look at that board state at the end, folks. That was just so strong and overwhelming. That Blackbeard matchup, on the other hand, that was a grind. We're probably lucky to have won that. I feel like I didn't play amazing in that matchup, especially when I dropped that Usohachi to try to rest the Kuzan when they had turned off on-play abilities. F in the chat for that one, folks. I take responsibility for it. If you made it this far in the video, you're a real one. Consider hitting that subscribe button down below. You know it means the world to me. You know the channel needs subscribers to grow, and who doesn't want to see the channel grow? I don't know. Maybe if anyone doesn't like me, they don't want to see the channel grow. You've had enough of my cringe jokes today. This has been a Johnny TCG video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.